Thrustmaster is stepping back into the game, as well as some big changes coming out of Navigraph charts, updates to the ActiveSky weather system, and much more in today's news for flight simulation. Guys, stick around as there's a lot to talk about today. If you are interested in acquiring any of my Overkills tutorial guides for Microsoft Flight Simulator, or simply interested in supporting the channel, please consider joining us on Patreon. Patreon subscribers level tier 2 and above have access to all of my guides, as well as any future releases that come down the road. Patreon link can be found in the description below.
Overkill simulations, watch us as we fly. Overkill simulations, and freedom will never die.
First up on the list here, guys, as we get closer and closer, you guys know that FS or Flight Sim Expo 2024 is on the arrival here. That will be June 21st through the 23rd at the Rio Hotel in Las Vegas, Nevada. You guys, the Flight Sim Expo is an absolutely amazing time, and as I was telling you guys in previous videos, where you do far more than just walk around and look at new hardware and new aircraft. There's much more to do. One of the really cool things is just the sheer social aspect of it, being able to walk around talking to like-minded folks, getting new ideas and tips and tricks and things, being able to communicate with people, everyone from real-world pilots to just experienced simmers who know how to sort of iron things out in a way that maybe we haven't thought of. But one of the other really cool things that Flight Sim Expo and the community is really known for is creating group activities. Those activities have been released here on the website. I don't know if these are subject to change or not, or if more will be added. But let's talk about a few of them that are kind of appealing. First off, the Las Vegas Tracon and Tower Tour. You'll actually be able to walk through the tower, see how everything is handled, as well as see some of the ground control operation, things like that. You have the supercar rental on Friday night, which I think is kind of neat. Obviously, you guys need to sign up for this stuff. So you just come to the website here. Link to it is down in my description below, guys, where it says register for the Flight Sim Expo. It will take you to the same location. If you haven't registered yet and you're interested, make sure you use that link, as it also helps me out. And then the Flight Sim Banquet, you guys. This I will actually be checking out this year. I missed it last year. I am going this year. So if you guys want to just kick back, have some good meal, and shoot the you-know-what, this is a great opportunity to do that. One of the other things that I wanted to point out was the X-Plane workshops. I'm giving Laminar Research some really major props for putting something like this on. I think this is a really neat experience. Let's dive down a little bit so we can go down and see what that looks like. Here we go. So the Flight Sim Workshop is actually going to show you how to do some basic aircraft design, as well as scenery design and 3D modeling. That is a huge thing in my opinion, because I think a lot of us, especially when it comes to the scenery, have always looked at it and gone, gosh, I really wish that I could fix this or do that. I've even tried it in Microsoft Flight Simulator. It's just, to be completely honest, too daunting to me. I don't understand it. I can't find the resource that I'm looking for that really breaks it down in a way that I clearly understand what I'm doing and what I'm looking at. And plus, you know, as things change and GUI changes and UI changes and SDK changes, I think some of the videos that I looked at in the past personally are probably outdated, and so I don't see what I'm seeing on the screen. So this is a really awesome opportunity, especially for X-Plane 12 pilots and X-Plane 11 pilots. I imagine the infrastructure is pretty similar to that. So there are a ton of different experiences, guys, that you're able to check out. The VR Experience Center, I think, is another really cool one, as it really gives you an opportunity, if you are not a VR pilot, to sort of check out and see what the big hype is. Why is everyone so big on VR? Maybe you're someone who's sort of standoffish with it. VR truly is a massive game changer, especially with the recent implementation and development of mixed reality. Mixed reality becoming more and more popular now. For those of you who don't understand the difference, mixed reality would be that you're still wearing the virtual reality headset, but all of your devices, everything that is physically in front of you, okay, that you are actually handling with your hands, can be seen through the VR headset. You are able to create, if you will, a virtual boundary where it will separate the real world from the fake world. And then everything else that you look around, obviously, is the simulator world. Why is that such a huge deal for flight simulation? Well, it gives you the ability to use, like I said, all of your peripherals, gauges, etc., autopilot panels, FCUs, whatever it may be, in your simulator comfortably without reaching blindly and hoping that you find the right button, while maintaining the outside scenery of the simulator. Now, maintaining the outside view of the simulator is critical, because one of the things that really VR brings that is a critical piece is depth perception. perception. That is probably for flight simulation. I would say for flight simulation, racing simulation, I think that is the biggest difference between, or the biggest advantage that VR brings, is that depth perception. Your landings and takeoffs and taxis and approaches, sense of height, all that comes into play significantly better in virtual reality than it does in 2D. So anyways, guys, if you are interested, make sure you check out the Flight Sim Expo's website. Again, a link to all of this will be down in the description below. It will take you to the registration page. Simply click here to activities at the top of the page. Boop. Let me bring that down. There it is. Click here to the activities and you'll be good to go. Skyward Simulations has already released an update to their DA-50 retractable gear, and it's actually a pretty significant. Everything seems to be in a really good line, so let's talk about some of those changes real quick. For those of you who don't know, this is a €15 aircraft sporting the G1000, I imagine based off of Microsoft Flight Simulator's G1000, but with the working title integration, we all know it's a phenomenal piece of equipment now, so that's really not the downside that I guess maybe it used to be. So, talking about the changes that you got here already. This is an improved flight model, improved startup, improved engine cooling on the ground at idle, faster engine warm-up, improved ground idle and flight idle logic, added a transfer pump auto shutoff, added fuel slosh. That's interesting. I think that's the first one that I've heard actually like speak that out. Interesting. I don't know that I've ever paid attention to that other aircraft. That's interesting. Anyway, moving forward. Sorry. Fixed low-res wavy default liveries, so the liveries are going to look a lot nicer. Dynamic registration has been added, so you can now change the tail numbers, or the registration numbers. Fixed emissive textures on the right G1000. Fixed the sun visor reflectiveness. Fixed gear decals, and various other textures improvements and bug fixes. So I would say the first 5 were pretty significant. And again, for a €15 aircraft, is it euro or is it pounds? This might be pounds. No, it's euros. And it is found, I had to think about where you buy it. It is found on the Contrail web, or Contrail app is probably the easiest way to grab it, because you have to use the Contrail app in order to install it. So might as well just grab it from there too. But again, very, very reasonably priced. We will be doing a review of this aircraft tomorrow morning, guys. So hopefully you guys will enjoy that. I think we might bust out with a spontaneous live stream. We might try live streaming on YouTube. We'll see. So stick around for that. However, if not, we'll be going to Twitch. So if you guys aren't following me on Twitch, make sure that you guys check me out. A link to that is down in the description below, underneath all of my other links. So make sure you guys check that out and join me on Twitch. Moving on over to Navigraph, they've added 2 new layers to the Navigraph chart system. Now, for those of you who are aware, with Navigraph, you want to grab the subscription if you don't have it already. It does give you the updated air rack information, as well as they're also now the owners of SimBrief, so it's a great hand-in-hand opportunity to really get the most out of flight simulation. There are other options out there, but mostly just real-world pilots use those, such as ForeFlight and things like that. But Navigraph is a fantastic tool. Yes, before anyone says it, there are free options to handle just about everything that we have here in Navigraph, but you have to go through multiple apps, multiple locations in order to acquire that information. So the 2 new layers that they've added here, first off, the first one allows you to see ground data, such as forests and glaciers. Now, it is enabled by default in the VFR map, but just like with just about anything else with inside of Navigraph, it can easily be toggled on and off based on your preferences. And then next up here, they add the Terminator layer, which will allow you to see where night and day end based on where you are flying and help you plot your course and expect what you are to expect based on your flight and time of travel. So again, you guys, Navigraph Charts is an incredibly powerful tool. They previous update, they added a very, very wanted tool, and that was annotations. The ability to literally write on the charts, draw out your taxiways as you're hearing them, all kinds of really awesome stuff. So the app continues to get better and better. I have been using Navigraph Charts almost exclusively for about 7 years now, and I can tell you right now, the growth this app has gone through is absolutely phenomenal. And it's a very, very welcome, and to me, a staple now that I cannot do any kind of IFR, especially without it. But they also added VFR sectionals in a previous update too, which was a long-awaited feature as well. So it's got literally everything that you guys need for any kind of flight planning or monitoring. For those of you who by some chance have not caught on yet or seen it yet, the Blacksquare team has released the Piston Duke and the Turbine Duke. I'm going to make this as brief as I possibly can. First off, we have a full tutorial guide in development that walks through an entire flight. I had just... I'm tripping over my words here. I was trying to figure out what the best way to do it was, because essentially it is two aircraft that operate very similarly but have different performance numbers. Initially, I was going to do just one guide and have different pages for each one, but I've decided to shift it into two different guides just to make things a little bit easier to manage, so that way you don't look at the wrong charts. So that is in development, you guys. We're about, I would say, 50% through. I was hoping to have it done before the aircraft launched, but they beat me to it. I thought I had a little bit extra time when I heard that Sim Update 15 was delayed, but Blacksquare stepped up, which is totally cool. All I'm going to say about this aircraft, you guys, is if you like twin-engine planes, period. If you like twin-engine GA aircraft, pick it up. It is phenomenal. It is phenomenal. You guys know, if you've been watching my channel for a while, what I think of, for example, the TBM 850. This aircraft is right up there with it, if not better. You have, even with the piston version, you have the piston, the regular piston, then you have the Grand, which is a bit faster, a bit more powerful. And that comes with just the piston package. Then you have the turbine package, obviously much higher performance, much faster performance, you know, more powerful aircraft. The flight dynamics and flight modeling and systems modeling is out of this world. They've done such an amazing job with it. They're Blacksquare. You guys set the bar, man. I mean, okay, so remember how excited we all were when A2A launched, the Comanche. That's where Blacksquare's at, in my opinion. I mean, that's exactly where they're at. That's exactly the kind of quality we get from their products as well. It's really a night and day experience when flying it. They support things like the GTN 750, the GNS 530, all kinds of really cool stuff here. You guys are seeing some gyroscope physics right there, signal attenuation there. You have to tap the needles if the needles are sticking. Actually, nope. Yep, there it is right there, needle friction. I was hoping I didn't speak too soon. I wanted you guys to see it. Anyway, so I'm glad you saw it. It's really incredible stuff, you guys. I mean, there's just about everything that you can think of was put into this aircraft, and it was extremely well thought out. So, again, you have two different options. I believe the packages are right around between $40 for just a single aircraft, and I think it's right around $70 or $65 for both aircraft. Check the Blacksquare website, you guys, or not the Blacksquare website, the Just Flight website for the Blacksquare Piston Duke or the Blacksquare Duke if you guys want to check out those packages. But I highly recommend both aircraft. They are, it's amazing, guys. They nailed it. Thrustmaster bouncing back into the game as far as their bases go. Holy crap. It's time. Virpil and VKB and everybody better be ready, because now they're coming into us. So they have launched their pre-order for the Ava base. Anyone who already owns the Thrustmaster Warthog flight stick can take advantage of just this base. It is $299. Yes, that's expensive, but it's right up there with Virpil, you guys. That's right about the same price. And the same quality. You're going to have the same kind of functionality, the ability to tweak everything from the cams to the springs to the tension. You're watching it right here, the different movement restrictions. There's all the different cams. And if anything, this might be one of the most modular configurations I have seen yet. The way that it is assembled and disassembled is very, very smooth. All metal activity now. They caught on. Like, I have been wondering for years when Thrustmaster was going to launch something new in regard to their base to keep up with the people like Virpil and VKB who have these high quality full metal configurations. Thrustmaster's on it now. So keep in mind, if you have the Thrustmaster Warthog flight stick, if you have the F-18 grip, this will work for you. You guys, I cannot express enough the difference in performance between these kinds of bases. These kinds of bases offer a finite precision, or excuse me, fine precision, not finite, a fine precision in your flight control systems, okay? This is probably one of the biggest reasons why I stepped away from Thrustmaster was because of the base. The base before had these very large, you know, for those who don't know, has a plastic gimbal, with a very large tension spring under it, and it, especially in the lower range of movement, like something that you would do, for example, air-to-air refueling or something like that. It can be very hard sometimes without an extension to increase your center of gravity and the leverage points. It can be sort of difficult to manage that. They've nailed it here. This is going to be fantastic. I am definitely going to be acquiring a copy of this and doing a review here on the channel, guys, because this is huge. This puts Thrustmaster, in my opinion, back on the map on that I honestly feel like they were kind of falling behind on because of this limitation. It was because of the base. So stay tuned for more. Pre-orders are available right now. Again, $299 US, you guys. Look at the competitors. It's right in line. Finally, last up on the list, ActiveSky continues to push out new developments for the incredibly awesome weather tool, guys. I know in my initial review that there were some... I was sort of on the fence back and forth on whether or not it was worth the money, but I can tell you right now that I have learned quite a bit more. And with this latest update, we are going to be doing a test round with the beta version 8888. And guys, just take a quick moment to take a look at the changelog that's on the screen here. You guys can see some of the changes that have happened. There is also a bit of settings that we're going to want to change inside of ActiveSky that's really going to provide the experience that we were all expecting to see outside of the box. There's a couple things that I will be commenting on in the later video. That video hopefully will be out tonight, where we go over the beta version and the changes with inside of Microsoft Flight Simulator. But I can tell you guys right now that it is significantly different than what my initial impressions were. There was a lot more to it. There's a lot more things that you want to dive into. As we all know, I did state in my initial impressions video that with ActiveSky, you want to make sure that you dive into the settings, because the settings are where the magic really happens. And a lot of the settings have been dumbed down because non-real pilots found it to be either too difficult, too challenging, or just weren't expecting the experience that they got and found a distaste for it. So we'll talk about some of that in the review video of this new beta release. So as always, guys, stay safe and healthy. Thank you for all of your continued support, and I will see you in the next one.